Well, today I have the pleasure of sharing with you a little bit more value, just like always, through our friend Michelle Schneider from PPG Paints. And the way I got to know Michelle was pretty cool. It was when Tom and I were getting our house ready to sell, and we needed to paint, and we hired someone because it's just way too much to paint ourselves. And he introduced us to Michelle because he uses her as a professional painter to guide his clients in good selection of color that is going to have the right undertones to make the trim in the house look its true color, to accentuate the colors in the flooring and all kinds of things. So it was an incredibly valuable experience. So that's how I met Michelle. And so, Michelle, at the end, let's talk about the services that you can provide to people who are clients of ours. But I'd really like to just kind of dig in so people can understand what it is you do. Okay, so of course, buyers many times want to personalize a space when they purchase it. But sellers many times are really needing to do some preparation of their home to get it ready to go on the market, so we can get people in their home to look at it and make offers. So what should potential sellers consider when they're looking at paint colors for the inside of their home for selling?
So I think that the most important thing is to neutralize. Don't add a lot of color. So bringing that back down, finding the right neutrals to work with your trim, your flooring, your countertops, and your backsplash, your tile in your bathrooms. Those are all super, super important aspects to evaluate when you're considering your home to be put on the market. Buyers are really clever these days. They're going out and they're looking at model homes and they're looking to see what is trending. So, you know, you're competing against somebody that's also looking at new home as well. So coming in line with some of those factors, but yet your home might have golden oak. So certain grays may not be the best fit for your home. So finding that right balance and that right neutral will be key.
One thing that we see sometimes when we show properties is when a seller has gone out and thought they needed to make their house gray to sell it.
That's right.
Didn't have help in selecting that color. And so I, as a buyer's agent, am taking someone in to look at it and the walls look purple when they actually intended them to be gray. So can you kind of school us a little bit in those undertones and what?
Absolutely. So the undertone is the underlying color that's going to pull through. Whenever you have light, it's going to pull that color and drag that out. I think one of the biggest gnomes out there is that people like to pull a color based on a name. Forget names. We have some really crazy names, but they're the most beautiful color in the palette. So don't go basing a color for your wall based on a name. You do need to look at the undertone, and then you also need to look at how that color is affected with your trim color. So if your trim color, let's say, has a lot of peachy undertones, or it has a lot of yellow, when you pair that against certain grays, either more blue or more purple will come to the surface. So we really do evaluate the color based on that undertone in whatever it's going to be applied next to. So your trims, your doors as well.
Okay.
So, and if anytime an individual needs help with that, they can contact me as well. So.
Well, and I noticed that with Tom and I, we were pretty neutral in our home, but we didn't know how much we needed you until we got you in and you schooled us on these undertones. Because if we would have made our own selection of a gray to put on the wall, our trim would have looked yellow.
Very yellow. It would have
been very off-putting to buyers, and it would have limited the offers that we had on our property. And especially in today's market, if we're limiting the numbers of buyers that we're getting into a home, if a house doesn't go off the market in 3 days in today's market, people think something's wrong with it.
That's right.
We need to get as many people into that property as quickly as we can through showings, through open houses, so we can get good value. And what I've seen is when buyers are, everybody looks on the MLS at the pictures. Everybody's looking at those through apps like Zillow and Trulia and so on and so forth. And if there's an off-putting color, that house becomes the orange house.
That's true.
Not the house that, wow, you know, we could do something with this. It's automatically a, nope, we're not going to go see that.
So color, I think, is one of the very most important aspects and cheapest aspect to change in your home to bring emphasis for those buyers to walk in. You don't want to make it a negative before they even walk in the door. I'll take it back even multiple decades ago. My very first house that I looked at, it was red. And we pulled into the driveway. I'll never forget it. Pulled into the driveway and I said, no, I'm not walking in this house. I can't live in a red house. And this is so many decades ago. And the realtor said, oh, you need to come in and look at the inside of this house. I think you're going to be surprised. And yes, I was surprised. But if I'm like any other buyer that's out there, the negative starts on the curb appeal.
Absolutely.
So if the house, let's say, you know, if that house would not have had a lot of positives, it was a horrible color on the inside, that's a double whammy. I would have walked right back out. But I ended up buying the house knowing that I could paint. But not everybody's going to be in the same situation that I'm in and knowing that I can do that. So you're competing again against your next door neighbor who might be having their house up for sale. You need to have the best curb appeal with your color.
And so do you help people pick the exterior colors for their home as well?
Yes, exteriors might be my specialty. So I do around 700 color consultations in my market alone. And then we also do virtuals all over the United States. So I think on that line, I averaged in the several hundreds last year. Yes. And so knowing also for your exterior, those undertones pulling out, what's the worst thing that could happen? You're going to pull up a color, again, another gray. And if it has a purple undertone, you have now definitely made that into a purple home. So the gray really does not come out as much as the purple will because of the ultraviolet rays from outside. When you're picking a color for the outside, for exteriors perhaps, you need to make sure that you're looking at that color outside. So to see how it's going to interact from morning, noon, and night, just like you would for your interior. Reviewing color morning, noon, and night to see exactly what's going to pull through is the most important thing. And your lighting. So your lighting on the inside of your house is going to really have a major key as well. So let's say that all my lighting has a yellow cast. It's going to pull more cream out in a color as well. So changing and maybe going to a blue light if you really do feel like your color is not more yellow on that side of things or more orange, because yellow lights can have a tendency to do that, changing your lighting might be just the key as well.
Is there a difference between like the LED lighting, the brighter white versus Edison bulbs, with how that affects the color in a room?
Yes, that very much so. So let's say that I went to a white on my walls, for instance. If I did something with the brighter whites in my lighting, it's going to look really overpowering and very white, very sterile. But yet Kansas City right now is in that movement of black and white houses. If you walk into new home construction, it's all in the white palette.
Yes.
So yeah, so making sure that you're not getting those whites and they turn yellow on your wall. That's really super important, just as equally as important as not having purple on your wall.
Absolutely. Okay. Wow.
So considering all your neutrals, but then yet considering all of your whites too. And Absolutely. Going lighter, make sure that your homeowners are not pulling and dragging out very deep, dark colors because it has to be appealing to the masses. So maybe an accent wall in a certain area might be okay, but yet for the next person coming in, oh, I don't like that accent color. Really staying very neutral.
Well, and people don't look at a house of, oh, I can change that out. People just walk away. It's very different than what most people would expect that, especially if they lived in their home for a while and they're preparing to sell. They just think, oh, somebody else can do the carpet. They'll pick out their own color, or somebody else can paint the walls. We're not going to worry about it, because they come from a different place and are not quite aware of what's happening in the market and with today's buyers.
Yes, very much so. And then another thing that I'm running into now, I think because we're in such a black and white market of color, that think about just, what was it, 15 years ago when we were looking at the old world style. So those dark, deep trims are becoming the #1 issue. So it might be necessary to not just paint your walls, but paint your trim, doors, and ceilings. Because if you have a very, very dark, deep color for your trim, it's going to affect everything. And that's becoming now, I think, the biggest issue for the dating part of our homes, is our trim, our ceilings, and doors, because they're so, so dark.
Okay. Well, and just a quick word of caution, just based on what I see in the market. It is really, really important, if you are going to paint trim or cabinets in your home, that you either have it done professionally or you consult with someone who knows paint to use the right materials.
So if your homeowners are at that stage and they need that advice, any of our PPG Paint store locations, they can go in, speak to a store's associate, and they'll put them in the line that they'll feel comfortable in their DIY choice and application. So they'll tell them exactly what they need to purchase, clear down to your brush and your rollers. And then if you need color assistance, you've got me to the disposal as well.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's go that way. Can you tell us about what services you provide and how those look either in today's current situation with COVID, or in normal times when we aren't under the restrictions that we are right now?
All right, let's start with where we are right now. And right now with the pandemic, I am not going into homes except for maybe your 10 or 15 minute process, just to see the trims and to see other areas, and then coming back to PPG so that we can pull color. Something like that's going to be a $75 color consultation charge. But at the flip side, we're giving you back a coupon for $50 off in paint purchase for our premium paints. Okay, so that also applies for our exteriors. Exteriors, we're going to meet outside, so of course we're going to meet on site and giving you that process. So that's, again, your 1 hour charge of $75, $50 back in paint purchase. But don't look for a color consultation to take more than that 1 hour for anything that we're doing. You'll get up to the hour service. We're also wearing our PPE anytime that we're meeting and we're getting together. So that's still in play. Hopefully one of these soon days, we'll be able to go back into homes and we'll be able to do interiors the way that they're meant to be. So pulling color, having you review them right there on site. Again, the $75 fee with the $50 back in paint purchase.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, now can you also tell us a little bit about PPG paints? When I'm out in the world selling real estate, what I hear constantly is that PPG paints are the top of the line. It's what all contractors want to use in homes that they're doing well. And so it's a huge honor for us to be able to partner with you guys and to bring this really, really high quality product to the clients that we have.
Yes, absolutely. So PPG is a trusted global leader in paints and coatings for over 135 years of innovative solutions for any paint project. Okay, so you don't just see PPG in architectural coatings, but We are also in automotive and aerospace, consumer electronics. So at some point in your day, you have come into contact with a PPG product. So our architectural coatings are the easiest part. If you can imagine that we put paint on the automotive section or your aerospace, we've got you covered for your home. And it is some of the best products out there, for sure. I was able to specify any manufacturer up till the point when I came to work for PPG. There's a reason I came to work for this company, because of their valued services and also their tremendous product value.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good to know. And it's really fun to think about the value that you guys are going to bring to clients that come into the store. Friends, just so you know, I'll guide you in what those prices are, but they are phenomenal. I was blown away at what they were able to come up with. And we're partnering specifically with the location by Zona Rosa at I-29 and Berry Road. So that would be the location you would need to go to. And once again, I'll guide you more in that.
And then also into one of the values that we're offering to all of your customers, all your homeowners, we're also offering free virtual color consultations. So if an individual doesn't feel comfortable coming and meeting with me, they can always send me pictures, and I'm sure that you'll be able to give them my email address. But they can send me pictures. It'll be a quick turnaround on specifications, and then I will instruct them on how to get free 8x8s mailed directly to their home, so they can look at the color in the space before they purchase an actual color sample.
And that is so helpful.
Yeah.
From my own experience, yes.
And I think that getting the actual paint sample, once you narrow it down from these beautiful 8x8 size selections, is tremendous, because you're going to want to be able to see that in paint form. And I do my process just a little bit different than everybody else, in the simple fact that I have you take the color, you're getting the wet sample, and you're going to apply it to poster board, and then that way you can transfer it all around the home. You're not going to look at it against your current wall color, because that wall color will transform that color in general, and it might bring out a negative, like we were talking about, some of the purples coming through or
right.
what have you. So that's why it's very necessary to do that final step.
Wonderful. Michelle, thank you so much for helping us bless our clients and our customers. Thank you so much. And we look forward to continuing our conversation in the future days about maybe like trending colors and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So anytime we're ready for that.
Can you do a sneak peek?
Huh?
Can you do a sneak peek, or is that like?
Oh yes, this is our 2021 palette. We went with a palette of the year this year instead of a color of the year, and maybe we'll go into that into the next podcast, so that way everybody can hear what's coming up for 2021. We're already working diligently right now. PPG is working on the 2022 palette of the year for 2022. So we're so innovative. We're way ahead for everything.
Kind of the trendsetters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you.
I look forward to everybody's calls. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.